10 seconds remaining.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to the GameShow Global Cup. It's going to be a best of 2 today for the C region. Only got one of those, but that's fine because we got more EU games afterwards, so be sure not to leave. It's going to be MVP Phoenix going up against First Departure. Neither of these two teams, I don't believe, have played any games yet, so here's hoping they start off on a good foot. 1 win is 1 point, 2 wins is 3 points. Let's see how many they're able to pick up. I'm Mikelorus, going to be joined by Daneliecasts for this best of 2. You know, as soon as I remember to actually start the call, then we will have everyone here together. But yeah, we're still not on a ticket. Admins are trying to figure out when that is actually going to be coming together because Valve are working on Valve time, so we're gonna struggle with the names because they're not tagged up properly. But either way, First Departure going up against Phoenix should be a very interesting matchup. And now she should be here soon. She'll be here soon, guys. You just have me. I'm Mikelorus. I'm the important one here. I'm the one calling on all the shots. I'm the one doing the fancy camera work. So if I miss kills, blame me, because that's definitely my fault. But yeah, we're going to go pretty slowly in this draft, actually. But I'm pretty sure we're going to get to you know, the normal place. Queen of Pain may be a rather early ban out, but everyone else, especially the Night Stalker, Doom, those point-click silencers, maybe an Ember Spirit first pick for First Departure, who knows, but hopefully everything should be fine now on the call end of things.
Yes, I kind of screwed up with the audio, but it should be fine now.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah? Okay, cool. So I did a bit of research on both of these teams, so a couple of heroes to keep in mind. I don't know if MVP Phoenix will still go for it. They are avid Ember Spirit pickers, whereas the First Departure still have to respect Miracle Heroes. So keep an eye out for the Ember Spirit because MVP Phoenix do love to pick that hero, but Tiny Wisp for them. This is a very solid opening for them, honestly. You can't really go wrong with the Tiny Wisp.
The Vengeful Spirit, Dazzles, the support duo for First Departure are kind of mediocre, medium at dealing with IO Tiny. Like, Swap is pretty good, Magic Missile is decent, and you know, you can save your buddies with the Grave, but let's just say it's no Disruptor, right? It's no Ancient Apparition, but First Departure, they got a plan. Like, you don't second pick a Vengeful Spirit unless you're really going deep in some sort of strategy, and I want to say that it's going to be like a Slardar TA type of minus armor strat from First Departure, because that's what Venge and Dazzle both have. Tiny IO, not exactly tanky armor heroes, so yeah, they may just be able to rip these two heroes apart.
I could definitely see that coming, and I think MVP Phoenix, they're kind of sensing this, and they get rid of one of the best heroes to work with this negative armor, which is a Wind Ranger. She typically has scaling issues, so if you can partner up with the Slardar in particular, but you can still work around with the Dazzle and Vengeful Spirit minus armors, then she scales much quicker and also much later into the game. So I think getting rid of the Wind Ranger first is definitely a step in the right direction. Question is, do they ban out the Slardar here? Because I think they're going to be okay if they're honestly dealing with a Slardar. It's a Tiny Wisp. I've seen it before. Slardar still has to rely on the physical right click, so if he doesn't go for an early BKB, there's still chances of him getting hit by the Craggy, and that might be what kills off a Slardar.
Yeah, Craggy and just Avalanche Toss. It's a hell of a lot of damage no matter who you are. It's actually a Huskar. Phoenix are not really scared of any sort of minus armor at all. Like, yeah, you're pretty much spot on with that Wind Ranger. It's the payoff hero for the minus armor. It's like, oh, everyone's going to be taking 1 million physical damage extra. Well, I'm just going to be focusing fire there, and I'm just going to kill them all. Huskar kind of gets paid off, at least not as much as the Wind Ranger, but, you know, kind of in the same vein, and it's a Slardar pick for Phoenix themselves. Okay. Now, for First Departure, they could just grab a TA and just be okay with that, but this is actually pretty interesting for Phoenix. I assume an off-lane Slardar, maybe a safe lane, dual lane Slardar, grab a Lich or something like that for the armor. That actually seems like a pretty reasonable way to go.
Yeah, definitely. Although I did see one team run a position 4 Slardar, which I found incredibly greedy. I don't think Phoenix will be doing this because they are running a Wisp. So I think the best scenario for them would honestly be putting him in the safe lane. Because you already have Tiny to be that really early scaling hero, then a Slardar adds on top of that. So if you can get the Slardar to come online just as quickly for the Tiny, then I think MVP Phoenix could roll over First Departure, who's picking up his Spectre as a 3rd pick. I really don't like this, because you look at Phoenix's draft, they can be so aggressive with their heroes, and a Spectre needs so much space. I'm not sure if First Departure is going to be able to create that space unless they pick 2 heroes that can create a lot of space during that early to mid-game portion of the game. But there aren't that many heroes left to do that. Like, as you mentioned, Templar Assassin could do it, although I think she comes online a little bit too late and might be too item dependent to babysit a Spectre.
Yeah, this is really where First Parch would love to grab a Queen of Pain, right? Like the perfect early mid-game hero. Hold down the fort, ideally. The matchup versus Io Tiny is pretty good, but Phoenix already banned her out. They already banned the Wind Ranger out, another hero that can get off to that similarly good start. I'm a fan of the Spectre in this patch. However, I'm not a fan of third pick Spectre really ever. Like, I feel like you really need to play the field out a little bit more. Pick her up fourth or fifth once you know what the enemies are actually going to be doing, because Phoenix, as you said right now, can put up the heat almost to maximum. Like Slardar, Tiny, they can just go off just individually and just win the game by themselves. Add them together, add an IO relocate on top, and yeah, it's kind of a sketchy situation to be a Spectre in general. And well, there you go, MVP Phoenix gonna have their fourth strength hero of the game with the Undying. This is also gonna be me questioning the Vengeful Spirit pick. Like, if you were planning on a Spectre, then Venge does like kind of average here. Like, I would say like a Witch Doctor is better, but wow, Tidehunter, I like it.
I like Tidehunter, but in this game though, okay, biggest disadvantage of running a Tidehunter is you're going to be constantly relying on Ravage, which is a incredibly long cooldown of a spell. Whereas when you look at Phoenix's draft, all of their ultimates have a relatively short cooldown, so for Phoenix there's just so many there's so many opportunities for ganks, whereas a first departure, they have to pick and choose their fights. Because if they waste a Tidehunter Ravage, that might be objectives taken by Phoenix, and they can take objectives so quickly. I don't know if a Tidehunter's going to be enough. They do have very defensive supports, but where's the damage coming from? Tidehunter's great as a disabler and a little bit of damage. Vengeful Spirit and Dazzle are great at keeping somebody alive, but it's not the Spectre that you should be keeping alive in the fights. Like, Spectre's going to be providing very minimal in the team fights at all. What does First Departure pick for their last hero? I don't see anyone that's going to be able to provide enough damage to compensate for the three other heroes that are supposed to be making space for Spectre.
Well, it's going to be a Viper to be banned out. I think they kind of have to go for like a Razor type pick. Just someone who could actually get off to an okay early start. It doesn't even have to be a great one. The Tidehunter does have the advantage in this game of being another payoff hero with that minus armor. Anchor Smash up against 3 melee heroes is pretty legit, and yeah, you have the minus armor with the Venge and Dazzle as well. Then we have a Warlock for Phoenix. Same problems as you just described with the Tidehunter with his ultimate, but for Phoenix, at any rate, this Warlock is the hero that says, okay, this is going to be the pushing part of this aggressive draft. Everyone else, they're designed to kill heroes. Warlock is designed to kill towers.
Not just that, though. Like, you can't underestimate the upheaval. I guess First Departure has, like, one good defensive spell in the swap, so if Vengeful Spirit's out of the upheaval range, and you can possibly save somebody, but
Ravage. This
is just full-on team fight for Phoenix, whereas for First Departure, they're probably looking at the Spectre pick, and they're kicking themselves in the gut right now, thinking, oh crap, what do we do? What do we do? They don't have the best counter push as well. Like, Phoenix can push towers, and they've got 2 defensive supports with no sort of wave clear. Nothing like a Keeper of the Light. There's nothing like a Lina that can clear the creep waves quite easily. So defending for First Departure, like, high ground should not be too bad, but T1 and T2, they got to give those towers up unless they're prepared to fight.
Maybe something like a Shadow Fiend, if they can get a decent start on like a hero like Tinker. Maybe they can hold the high ground, but there's so much initiation on the MVP Phoenix side. You really don't want to be someone that soft, if you can help it. Yeah, I'm always like kind of faithful in the fact that First Departure, no matter what they pick up, no matter what their progression is, they have some sort of wacky game plan. Like, it's never going to be the game plan of any other given team. It's going to be a First Departure game plan. But right now, I don't really see what that is. Like, I'm expecting some weird mid lane hero to come up. I don't know, again, what that is, but again, Shadow Fiend, Razor, like, Tinker, these are all, like, decent heroes to have if you're scared about being pushed in too early, but turtling up against the Tiny and Slardar, getting a Warlock or Refresher Aghanims, yeah, I'm not really sure if turtling is even going to win First Departure of the game.
No. Like, for example, if Phoenix doesn't want to go high ground, they just pop the Warlock golems, and the golems hit the tower. And if First Departure goes close to it, okay, Troll Warlord pick. Not what I had in mind. I need your thoughts. I'm really mixed about this Troll Warlord pickup.
well, Troll Warlord, another payoff hero for this minus armor. Now they have Gush, they have the Wave, they have the Weave. So in that regard, hero is fine. The downside of the Troll Warlord is that his lane matchup, whether it is up against a Warlock or a dual lane IO Tiny, is going to be really, really bad. Troll Warlord just does not hold lanes like he used to. And he wants to be, if he can help it, in melee range. And you don't really want to be in melee range versus a Tiny Slaughter and Undying. Again, if you don't have a BKB, you're going to have to deal with Craggy Exterior, you're going to have to deal with Crush, you're going to have to deal with Bash from Slaughter, not to mention Avatos. It is kind of refreshing to see Troll Warlord again, a little bit. Not that much, but a little bit. But honestly, I don't really think there was any great pick here from First Departure. So, you know, I can't really blame him for going for one of these heroes.
So for this situation, do you feel like First Departure just kind of drafted themselves into a bit of a hole here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, you third pick a Spectre, you second pick a Vengeful Spirit, who I still don't really see the point of. I guess the Slardar pick from MVP might have just jammed First Departure's draft up a little bit too much, and that's really what happened. Like, they would have loved to have that Slardar, and then who knows what this draft would look like.
That's true. I think Slardar would have been nice for them, but they won't get it. So we'll see if First Departure manages to make this draft work. First thing first, they need to at least somehow either win their lanes or stay equal with the Tiny Wisp. Obviously, being equal is still going to be unfavorable for First Departure, but it just seems like the Troll Warlord is their main hero that's supposed to hold the fort for the Spectre. And is it going to be enough? I honestly don't think Troll Warlord himself is enough. If you're running a dual core like an off lane and a mid, that could create the space for the Spectre, then that would be fine. But Tidehunter's not that kind of core not the kind of core that we're looking for anyway. He's great at utility, but by himself he's not that great. So we'll see if it does work with First Departure. It's an MVP, looking very solid. We'll see how these work for both teams.
They're gonna put 2, maybe 3 heroes on this bottom lane. Alright, so let's introduce everyone first of all. They don't have their proper tags, again, because we're still not on a ticket. That's coming soon. For the MVP side, March is going to be playing the Warlock. ASDF, who I believe is Febby, is on the Tiny. Heen is on the Undying, got Rayson on the IO, and then Slardar is here as well. I can only assume that they have their proper lineup, so it should be Mental Protector, but who knows, could be anyone.
Could be anyone. So First Departure, I think the only player I know...
In a lot of trouble to start things off. He got a little bit too far out. Here comes Heen trying to give him a little backup with the heal, the Shadow Word. He will get into a tower range. They're going to dive this. Oh, the creeps are going to block off the Spectre. There's just one more right click. They'll get the kill on the Spectre. Turbo Greed from First Departure. That's the type of start that they needed to have by killing off the Warlock. But mission failed. Mission failed.
That was an absolute disaster. Where was the Dazzle in that? If the Dazzle was there and he potentially had a Poison Touch, it might have been enough, but they're going to try and go for a wraparound again, like we're getting into position. We'll see if they can get this off. They have a lane ward as well, so I think they did spot him out too, so they just backed up and they took the creep as well. So as long as MVP plays safely in this bottom lane, they should not get caught out again. It's just First Departure doesn't really have the best supports when it comes to going for these sort of jumps. It's just the Vengeful Stun you could really rely on. And wow, Troll Warlord actually getting a kill on the Wisp, whereas he's going to try and man fight up against the Tiny. Will he win? It looks like he will. Miracle. Them balls. Oh wow, okay. Was not expecting the Troll to win a 2v1 mid matchup. And he gets killed by a creep. Oh no.
Not like this. Okay,
unless
well...
it was intentional. If he bought his items before he died, then it was definitely intentional.
That was an accident. I guess he didn't see the range creep come in. He only had like 5 HP, so he's actually doing a good job even after that death. He gave a kill credit to the Tiny. Now he's gonna dodge the avalanche, try to go for the 0 armor IO. Looks like we slowed down a little bit. There's a toss here for the Tiny, but this Troll Warlord is driving them both back. No Avatos combo means no kill on this Troll. He was taking a lot of damage earlier, which, you know, is rough up against our Tiny. It's pretty much unavoidable, but it seems like right now Miracle is just laying the hurt into this Tiny. He's going to land another avalanche, another toss, gets the bottle charges. With the poor man's shield, this Tiny still has no armor, taking so much damage. One right click will kill off the Tiny. You know what? This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about when First Departure had like a First Departure plan. Like, who would have thought that this would happen? Like, Troll Warlord, yeah, physical up against the no armor heroes of IO Tiny, but getting 3 kills now by himself? What?
I did. We both didn't see this. We both definitely did not see this. So this is huge. This is what First Departure needs. If they can get Miracle to a snowball like this, then I can definitely see him being that one-man carry sort of to make space for the Spectre. Is it going to be enough though? Because it's still a Troll Warlord and you're still going up against quite a few heroes down towards the bottom lane. Then we have Heen being chased up by the 2 supports. So Lubby going to try and finish him off. Is he going to have enough damage though? One more right click. One more. No. Going to be healed up a little bit there. Stealing the strength. And he's going to try and go for a tower dive. No. Lubby's going to back off. And takes a lot of tower damage with the Spectre dying to the Warlock in the process.
The Warlock went all the way through the tier 1 and around, so yeah, I was watching Heen. I didn't realize the Spectre was dying. So the Troll Warlord doing well is great for First Departure, obviously. They're really supposed to have the Troll Warlord, though, do well so that the Spectre could farm. They're going to land a dagger onto Heen. Lubby's coming around from the side with the magic missile. Heen just sticking around at like 100 HP. What the hell is going on in this game? Like, there are so many avoidable kills that could have happened. Like, the Troll Warlord dying to creeps. Now that Undying just walking into a magic missile. They're going to get an avalanche toss onto Miracle. He's going to survive that one, albeit barely. Now trying to go for this IO. Misses his range, whirling axes, and he will not get the kill. 6 HP, the IO's going to live, but grabs an illusion rune. ASDF trying to fight this one out with a toss. He'll get the kill. And that's a big kill at that Troll Warlord level 5. Pretty much solo killed there by the Tiny. So, yeah, this is a even start, and that is not the start that MVP are really looking for, but hell, as long as they're getting this Warlock killed and he's staying alive, then they can afford to lose the Undying a couple times. They can afford to lose the IO a couple times. Tombstone now dropped on the bottom lane. Lubby slowed down a little bit. Shadow Word is there, plus there's phase on the Warlock. This is going to hurt a lot for the Vengeful Spirit. The zombie's still not touching her just yet. Slow for a little bit. The phase boost difference is going to make it for March, as it's going to be a Vengeful Spirit kill up towards top lane. They're just getting into a man fight because that's what fish do. But Slardar versus Tidehunter, actually a really great lane for Tidehunter, like an extraordinary lane for Tidehunter. That being said, it's not enough to shut down the Slardar completely. He's actually gone for Tranquils, rather.
Yeah, so I think one of the forgotten gems about Tidehunter is he's just so good against those melee matchups. Like, you get hit by the Anchor Smash, and you get he's got 3 points into it so far. It's 55% damage reduction, and that's huge. But for the Slardar, since he's level 6 now, he's able to do a little bit more damage to the Tidehunter just because he's got the amp damage. So if he gets a lucky bash, he can really start to do some damage into Cal. But even then though, Tidehunter's still pretty tanky himself. He doesn't take too much right-click damage from the Slardar yet. And obviously, Miracle in the middle lane might go down. He should go down. A bit slow here. Gonna toss the Wisp. Yes, they got him. So a nice play coming up from the Tiny Wisp. I think what happened during the early game for Tiny Wisp is they sort of underestimated Troll Warlord because, let's face it, we haven't seen Troll for 2 patches.
Yep.
So they're just probably not used to the matchup anymore. I think once they got the couple of levels and they did have those couple of tussles with Miracle, then they know the limitations. Yeah.
Random Ravage pop, not something that Slardar was expecting. He was, pretty comfortable in that lane versus Tidehunter. You can't kill him off because even with amplified damage, you got the Kraken Shell. But even Venge coming in for a little bit of golden experience to soak up there. And Slardar, though level 6, doing pretty well in the last hit chart, is going to be falling very far behind this Tidehunter. And usually there are 2 builds for Tidehunters nowadays. You get the Blink Dagger Rush straight off, or you just go for the mech. I personally like the mech on Tidehunter a lot in general, and I think in this game especially, you really do need that healing item if you're going to be sitting in those fights and taking all the hits, and you really got to try to keep your Troll Warlord alive. That being said,
try and go for a jump on the Spectre there in the top lane. Look at he's got 1 bash so far, but the Tidehunter comes in. So a little unfortunate for the Slardar if the Spectre was there by himself. I think Slardar would have 100% committed onto trying to jump him, but yeah, that's about it.
Well, Spectre can't farm on the bottom lane. That has already been established with 2 deaths. Has an okay amount of CS considering where she started, but going up towards top lane isn't exactly going to be a super safe position either. Mostly because the IO is level 5.5 right now. Like, you may feel safer in the safe lane, and you probably will be, slightly. Just going up against the Slardar, they're going to go for an Avalanche toss the Troll back into the Warlock ultimate. The Golem not going to be nearby Miracle, though. Still going to apply a couple of right clicks. Now, Tiny trying to get tethered in. The Spirit Balls actually get the kill. There's a lot more damage than I was expecting. Troll Warlord going to crumble. Really awkward usage of the Golem there. I think the stun landed, but barely, and then it didn't really do any damage, but now that they use the ultimate, they can go for a tower push, and this is also freeing up the lane for Heen to get a little bit of experience.
Yeah, a little unfortunate as well. The Dazzle was right next to the troll, and I think he wasn't expecting the amount of damage from the troll ball. From the wisp balls as well. So if he was there able to get the grave in time, I think Miracle should have been able to get out of there. But up in the top lane, looks like we're gonna have a bit of a dive. Oh, and they're gonna try to go for the courier kill. No, don't kill the courier. Actually, what are they doing? They're gonna bring it towards the slaughter. I don't know what's happening there, but Lubby's gonna want to jump in. Or they were going to jump into the lobby, sorry. Miracle comes in, Crush misses, so this should be a kill onto the slaughter. Slow down, runs out of sprint, and that's going to be the end of him. I don't know what happened with the courier micro, but is it worth it?
I want to say that was intentional courier micro for bait, but if Slaughter landed one hit there, I'm pretty sure the courier would have died because it was amplified, which is something that never really occurred to me, but now I guess makes sense because it does pierce spell immunity. I've never seen a courier amplified before, but hey, it was first time for everything. Unfortunately, not going to do that much. So yeah, Slaughter not really on his crush game. It's like the second one he's missed at least so far. In the meantime, bottom lane, March and Heen gonna drop a tombstone, try to put a little bit more pressure on this tower. The problem with this push is that they do not have a chaotic offering, and there's a Tidehunter right around the corner. They don't know about it. They're all smoked up, but Heen, if he walks forward again, should try to go for like a harassment decay or keeping this tombstone up has very little benefit. Well, they can't really afford to get too close. If they lose the Warlock here, that's the disaster scenario for MVP. I guess they do have a relocate, but they really shouldn't want to relocate into a 4v4 like this, since, again, they don't have the March ultimate. Lubby doesn't have a swap either, however, so I guess March is going to see him coming and walk away. In the meantime, over towards mid lane, Miracle dropping super low. They're going to give a lot of respect to this Troll Warlord. I like how MVP have altered their play here. They have the toss. That's not quite going to be lethal damage anymore. They're still going to chuck the creep to cancel that salve because why not? But yeah, not trying to get into a man fight with Troll clearly hasn't worked. Oh, they're now going to jump towards Heen down towards the bottom lane. Shadow Word is going to keep him alive. Ravage is thinking about coming out, but he gets canceled by the Avalanche. Raizen's going to run right into Miracle, however, who also TP'd at no HP. Cal still has that Ravage, still threatening, is going to deploy it. Only, well, it's going to hit 3 heroes in the end. However, no damage follow-up at all. Now March as the Shadow Word is going to charge straight towards Miracle. No. Wants to help out Heen? No, he's actually going to run straight into the Troll Warlord, who gets hit with the Avalanche. Toss is there as well. Troll still alive. Might get the kill on March and will. With the heal from the Dazzle, the Troll Warlord still surviving. Now the Spectre pops the Haunt, still trying to go after Heen. Should be able to get this kill on the Undying. Tiny, one more toss, gonna get the kill on the Tidehunter. The Undying somehow slips out of there, and the Spectre tower dives way too far and ends up dropping. What a mess on this bottom lane, but after all is said and done, it's still a 2-for-3 exchange. Avatos, though, gonna make it a 4-for-3. As Febby grabs yet another kill. Now 2,700 gold, 2,800 gold out of nowhere for this Tiny. This game is a mess, but also Slaughter wasn't involved, and he was pushing. He took down a tier 1.
And that's super problematic, the first departure, because it's supposed to be them fighting 4v5 versus MVP, but it's the other way around. They're having to use the Spectre to constantly team fight. And I feel like the biggest issue this game with the Spectre is you're running a hard carry such as Spectre. He can't really jungle efficiently, so because of that, they're just trying to bring in the Spectre to get some team fight gold, but he's died 3 times 11 minutes into the game. And it's a position when you never want to be in that situation. So it just feels like it's sort of a desperation move to try and get the Spectre online. Because let's be honest, if Spectre's anywhere by himself in the on the map, there's a chance he just gets relocated on by MVP, and that's the end of it. Like the Tiny Wisp is going to easily chase down the Spectre. So I think this is all they could really do with the Spec. They can't just leave him on his own, unless they leave maybe the Dazzle with the Spectre, so that he at least gets graved and then he tries to run into the tree line. Then Dazzle will give his life away, but at least the Spectre survives.
Yeah, I mean, just having an 11-minute fight is not what First Departure want to be doing as a draft. Like, they want to avoid that at all costs, and that's exactly what MVP... I mean, they don't really want to go for those fights, but they'll take it if it is, like, delivered to them like that. 4v5, they didn't have the Chaotic Offering up, so they were down their biggest asset. Now the Blink Avatos gonna toss them out of the Chaotic Offering. These two are not in sync, but it looks like it may not matter because they'll get the kill on the Tidehunter anyway. Although it is Kraken Shell off the Shadow Word. Still the Spirits are searching out for him. ASDF is in a corner, but he has a Blink Dagger, so he'll get out of there. The Golem still deployed and is going to get tossed to the Dazzle. ASDF jumps in again, aggressive. I thought he blinked out of there, but no, he's going to go for the Dazzle, who's going to burn to the Immolation and nothing else. Now they're on to Lubby, who's going to hit with the Magic Missile onto Febby right now. Avatos going to miss the Vengeful Spirit. Miracle's going to come in, but this is a 1v3. And, well, now 1v2, I guess. Hyo yanks the Tiny out of there. March still here with Phase Boots, does a lot of damage. And still, this is a no Slardar fight. They're just going to push Miracle all the way out. They're already taking down the tier 1. Chaotic Offering is going to time out soon. Oh, Lubby, what are you doing? Don't swap him out. He was fine. Okay.
Well, I think they just wanted to be extra sure that he didn't get caught there. Honestly, I think so as well. I think he would have honestly just been fine, but maybe they were expecting a sort of Slaughter Blink Crush or something.
Dire's structures.
It was really unnecessary.
Now the Slaughter has Blink. Maybe they were timing the relocate back, and like they thought that Tiny would return with an Avalanche Toss, but now Tiny is going to jump right in. Avalanche Toss going to do a little bit of damage. Not that much, but Slaughter has a Blink Dagger. First Archer going to know about it right now. Blink Crush into 2. Here's the Haunt. Spectre should not reality into this. That's a bad idea. She's going to throw a dagger, completely miss it, and everyone's going to back off. That's going to be fine. They have another Blink Crush. Here we go. Onto 3 heroes. Ravage immediately in response. March, you can take an Anchor Smash to the dome. Minus Armor is there, and they're going to try to keep the Slaughter alive with the IO. Avalanche Toss is going to crater 2 heroes immediately. Spectre and Tidehunter down. ASDF on the front lines. Crag Exterior going to slow down the Troll Warlord who gets Graves super early. ASDF may fall, but another Blink Crush is going to save the Tiny for a little while longer. Maybe they get the kill on Miracle. March dropping super low right now. Rayson is going to start earning up March right now. Where the hell is the Undying? Heen, please get down here. They need the Undying in these fights. I have no idea what's going on in this game, but I guess for first departure, that was kind of a win since they take down both Tiny and the Slardar. The problem is that the Spectre didn't get anything from it.
That's probably the worst thing about it. The Spectre's just plummeted the entire game. Like, if you look at Spectre's net worth, he is third from the bottom. Third from the bottom. He's below the Dazzle. What? Okay, that should not be happening. He's going to be above the Dazzle now.
Dazzle has kills.
Yeah, exactly. Like, the thing is, Dazzle survives during the team fights, whereas for Spectre, being a melee hero, you're obviously going to be a #1 target for MVP, and that's what they've been doing most of the time, just killing off the Spectre every time, because you never want to go up against the Spectre late game. So they kill the Spectre, Dazzle survives, and this Spectre honestly is in shambles. If it was any other carry, then they might still be able to provide a little bit of help, but at this point, Spectre's just there for a Haunt and a Dagger, and that's it.
And when your dagger misses, you know, half your job is done. You have one job, Spectre, one job and you miss. But also a lot of credit to MVP. They showed off the Blink Dagger in spectacular fashion, landing like, what, a 2-man and then a 3-man or something like that. That's pretty much as good as it gets for the Slaughter. They're now going to go super aggressive right now, this time with the Undying. I like this. They're going to drop the Tombstone up on the high ground. Lubby's going to find it, but doesn't really want to get too close. There's the Chaotic Offering. 2-man Crush is there as well. Lubby, I think, swaps out someone. Doesn't really help, though. They're going to grave up the Dazzle. Already a small win there for MVP. He's going to try to teleport out of here. Looks like he'll get crushed out of it again. And that's going to be 1 kill, 2 kills so far, as the Spectre also died in the midst of this. The Vengeful Spirit is slowly ticking down to something, but will survive. Heen as well, dropping super low, but will get out of the range of the Anchor Smash. They'll get the kill now on the Tidehunter. Miracle trying to make his way out, but he's not going to get away. This Vengeful Spirit this time is the only hero to survive, but MVP don't lose a single hero, and that is the difference between having an Undying in those fights and having an Undying in the mid lane for some reason while the fight goes on. He does some serious work.
Yeah, and during the team fight as well, Spectre got relocated up top, Avatos, and he just died.
Oh.
So, PJY couldn't even haunt him. Gonna go for a crush as well. Oh, the Slaughter. Do they really want to jump in there? There's no one nearby. Just a bit of taunt there. He might commit as long as he knows there's no one there, but there is Lubby behind just in case the Spectre does get jumped on. This game is honestly in shambles at first departure. He's gonna actually commit? Nope. He's thinking about it. Okay, he's just gonna slowly whittle down the Spectre with Blink Crushes. He's got almost no mana, so he will go back to base.
The classic harassment crush coming out from the Slardar. Yeah, this game for first departure is pretty off the rails at this point. I mean, the Troll Warlord had a pretty great start, but now 6-6-2. It's a, I guess, okay score, but in this scenario, they need the Troll Warlord to be 6-2-6 because he needs to be, holding down the fort, and that's clearly just not happening. Tidehunter does have his mech, and I guess that's nice for first departure, but for MVP, they have the IO, they have the Undying. That's a hell of a lot of sustain in and of themselves. And the IO is actually very close to a mech himself. I don't know. But March also is only 200 gold away from having that double rock. And, well, they're going to run into the Slardar, who's sprinting up the hill. I don't know. Oh, they saw them. What? What?
Was it a smoke rotation? By any chance, maybe?
It might have been. I didn't see first departure until the Slardar saw them also. So they're going to go into the Roche Pit, try to take it down. This is something that Troll Warlord can do very well, I guess, still after nerfs. But yeah, there's a Chaotic Offering in, 30 seconds. They might actually get this. They probably will.
Yeah, I don't think MVP's going to get here in time, so looks like it's going to be a free Roche at first departure. And honestly, just having a small win here by taking the Roche, it's going to help, but it won't solve the issue for the game. I think the best thing is that they're going to give Miracle a second life, and that might be just enough to get an extra kill than they typically would. it might win them the team fight, but it honestly is going to be based on execution by First Departure and whether or not MVP gives them any sort of opening during the team fights. But it's going to be so hard for First Departure to win a team fight. They have Sustain, they have a Ravage. Is it enough though for Miracle to do the damage necessary? I'm not too sure. He's not hitting as hard as he would like to yet, but I think as the game progresses, he will start to become a much more relevant threat.
I mean, yeah, in and of itself, the Spectre is going to be a much larger threat, but everyone else on MVP, they're getting a lot bigger, a lot faster. Got another smoke up this time. 3 heroes, of course, relocate available, and they will be looking for this kill this time with everyone and with the Warlock ultimate being up. Blink, rush onto Cal, relocate immediately afterwards. They'll be getting caught in the chaotic offering as well. Tidehunter does have a Ravage, will get it out, putting a lot of damage into Racing right now as the Haunt does go out, but they already kill off the Tidehunter. Miracle in the backline trying to kill off Heen, but he gets healed up with the stick charges. Tombstone on the high ground, not being dealt with right now. They'll take down the Vengeful Spirit. Heen may fall here, but it's a small price to pay because they'll get the Aegis off of that troll. They're going to get another crush onto the Spectre. Another toss will kill her off in the end. And now Miracle is back, but he's in a 1v4 with 2 golems there. Avalanche needs to slow him down. He's not going anywhere. Double kill for the IO somehow. Sure, why not? A 1-for-5 exchange, I guess, if you count the Aegis there. And now the tower's going to fall as well. The Aegis on the Troll Warlords did jack all there. Like, you need a lot more on your troll if you want an Aegis to be relevant.
Oh, I don't know if First Departure is going to be able to recover this game. I think it's just to the point of no return at this point. The Spectre's just got no farm. He is still 4th. And they're going to try and jump onto Cal. He is going to be graved up, although it looks like the Tiny wants to commit here. There is going to be a crack in the shell, so it looks like Cal's going to be fine. They pop a stun onto the Tiny, but honestly, where's the follow-up? They can't really jump onto the Tiny here. They're in their base, but they're just so tanky. But Slaughter's not that tanky, but the Tiny, sitting on 2k HP, 19 minutes into the game. He's got more HP. I guess he's got like 100 HP per minute.
Sure, if that helps you visualize how much HP he has.
He has a lot of HP.
Sure, I mean, 2,000 is a hell of a lot, and he is also high enough level so that he can start getting Craggy Exterior, which we already went over, is fantastic up against Troll, and I guess, in theory, also good up against Spectre, but yeah, he's getting armor from that, and that's really what the important aspect is. Everyone for MVP, they are farmed out of their mind. This IO has more farm than the Slardar, because somehow that worked out like that. I don't really know how. I mean, he's 4-2-9. This IO is actually super stacked right now, but for First Departure, their Spectre doesn't even have maxed out Desolate, so Haunt, which in theory would do some guaranteed damage just with the Haunt illusions desolating, it doesn't. So First Departure, what damage tools do they have? Minus armor level 4 with Anchor Smash. That's about it.
And maybe a Lucky Bash from the Troll every now and again.
Mm-hmm.
They just, I don't know, the synergy between First Departure's rough. In theory, though, they had a lot of negative armor, which they would have been able to capitalize on, but who synergizes with a Troll Warlord? There's no heroes that really take advantage of the battle trance. There's no sniper in this game, though. It's a time hunter.
They should have picked a sniper. Go all .83 on this game.
Oh, God.
Here we go. Swap out Spectre, pick Faceless Void.
Right? That would work, yes. Yes. Faceless Void would be in a much... I wouldn't say he would be in a better position. If he had the same farm as Spectre, he would still be really, really sad. But at least he'd be able to help out the Troll, just keeping heroes locked in place. He would benefit from the battle trance. So at least the Troll Warlord pick would have a little bit more value than what it currently has. So, high ground defense, unfortunately. Raxes are exposed 20 minutes in. You don't want to lose it this early, but MVP. They want these Raxes. I think they're just going to have to give them away. Like, you try and fight MVP. If you lose a fight here, then if First Departure tries to take a fight here, they could potentially not just lose most of their heroes, but there could be more objectives taken. I guess the best thing for them is that T2s are still up for both the mid and the bottom lanes. There's an extra layer of defense there.
That's Tiny if he cares. He's going to blink in, misses Avalanche, because skills are very hard to land in this game, apparently. Blink Crush, though, going to land onto Miracle. The Ravage not up just yet. They will swap out and grave the Troll Warlord, so he's not dying anytime soon. But there are zombies flooding the base, and Febby's just going to go to town on the structures. First Departure, they have to mount some sort of defense, but they're too busy retreating right now. Golem's going to get right on top of Lubby. Vental Spirit down. Io's going to steal that kill. Cal will land a Ravage. Only into 2 heroes there, and this is 2 supports. He'll die immediately afterwards. Now the Haunt is there, but it's not doing anything. Miracle's going to teleport right in with the BKB already active. He's going to try to go for the Io, but he's just not fast enough to get that kill. Now he's just going to get burned down by the Chaotic Offering. One more shot is all they need. It seems like everyone's slow for some reason, but a nice Blink Crush toss, well, not going to land. Miracle is going to get into his fountain. But still, they're not actively fighting right now, First Departure. They're losing their top lane. And now for MVP, they can just peace on out of here. They've lost absolutely nothing. The Ravage was just not good enough. Chaotic Offering was good enough. And now they can look for these tier 2s. They can slow roll this game really as slow as they want. Even just like wait another 30 minutes if they want to and just split push with a Tiny. Like that is something that MVP can do at this stage.
So, when the starter went for that crush near the fountain, did it look like it was going to hit Miracle?
I thought it was.
Like Miracle, I thought it was as well. He was right next to Smarter. The crush landed, and Miracle was still moving. Although he is having some animation bugs every now and again. Sometimes he just doesn't run. He just kind of slides.
Not like this.
Oh, God.
Spectre, no. There's a zombie. Run. She has dagger, but there's a Blink Crush. Amplify actually was fogged out. Spectre is going to get behind the trees.
And
stay in the trees. Stay in the trees.
Yeah. No.
They'll kill the Io on the return.
But is it? I guess getting 1k from an Io is worth it. It's still your Spectre that it goes down, and looks like we're gonna have First Departure hunting in their own jungle to see if they can find anyone. But everyone's gone for MVP. They got the kill, and they mostly leave aside from the Wisp. But man, I don't think First Departure just has enough gas in the tank anymore. They're running a defensive item on a core that's supposed to be dealing most of the damage on the team. And obviously you never want to be in that position, because if you go for survivability first, that's going to impact your damage, and looks like Slada going to go for... Nope. Okay. So we're playing hide and seek now. I think he just wants to play safe.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the right play, but still. Just amplify him, crush him, just to show him who's boss, and then blink away after. You gotta assert that dominance, but Warlock, in the meantime, is going to be going for Fresh Orb, standard Warlock there. We got an AC completed on the Tiny once the Courier gets out here, and, well, it is most of the way out there already, so... Yeah, Tiny now has 24 armor and 2200 health. He's losing the health per minute, or he's definitely falling behind there, but who cares? Like, can they actually kill off this Tiny? I'm not sure First Departure can even do that.
Well, the issue, right, is they're mostly running physical damage, and they have no magical damage to fall back to, so you're already at a slight disadvantage because there are chances for craggy procs. And also Tiny's running an extra 20 armor over his natural force, so he's already got 60% physical damage resistance. So First Departure, they can throw down as much armor reduction as they want, but the follow-up damage for that, honestly, let's admit it, it's almost non-existent here for First Departure. They just don't have any more damage follow-up aside from Miracle. Lespectus is still not relevant. He's gone for a Vanguard to survive, which means that it's not improving Spectre's usefulness in the team fights aside from surviving those extra couple of seconds. And that's not quite enough for First Departure. They're just they're in such a desperate position, and I feel like they're gonna have to start going for those desperation plays where you go for smokes and hope that you can grab an easy pick off and just get away with it without MVP punishing you. But you're still up against a Tiny Wisp. They could just relocate right on top of you when you try to go for that gank. So smoke will happen, and I think they're going to use Miracle here as bait. They will sit behind him. We'll see if the jump does happen.
Oh, but if it's going to happen, it's going to happen with absolutely everyone. There's a Refresher Orb flying out to March right now, so, you know, trying to use that smoke gank strategy you were describing, at least on this Warlock, it's not going to fly. He can just double ulti you, and you will probably kill off the Warlock. You will probably also suffer many casualties on your way out. But MVP, they're going to play this game very safe. You know, it's just going to be a pretty easy Roche for them. Soul Rip to get rid of the Linken's effect, Spell Block, and then Amplify damage, and then Tiny arrives with the AC and has another Hyperstone as well, just like he needed more attack speed. This Roche is going to fall super quickly. I watched the recording thing on the stream, and it turns out the BKB on Troll, that's the reason why I didn't get crushed, because it was like fading, but it was still up. Yeah.
Right.
The animation dropped like as soon as the water from the crush splashed. So it was up technically, but yeah, it was close. But they grabbed the Aegis, no problem whatsoever, losing absolutely no HP from it because of the Assault Cuirass. Now here we go. We have I guess not maxed out Warlock effectiveness since he still has 2 more levels to go before those are level 16 golems. But for first departure, I don't know. They need a miracle. 2 miracles because they already have 1.
I don't even think they need 2. They'd probably need a whole team of miracles to come back into the game. So we'll see how the defense goes. If they can hold, I think that in itself would be a miracle.
Just make an even fight happen. 4-4.
If they lose
maybe.
the T3 and they don't lose their entire draft, but they can push away MVP, I think that's the best scenario that they could hope for. If they get anything beyond that, then it's a massive win for them. But not enough for them to really come back into the game. I think for first departure to come back into the game, they need to win something along the lines of 4 to 5 team fights decisively.
In a row. Negative weave, definitely going to help out. Landing on 4. Miracle is going to look to get the backlines. Right on top of March right now. Can he get rid of this Warlock problem? Seems like he will. No golems in this fight, but will that be enough? Tiny still swinging very hard. Ravage is going to be deployed, only connecting onto the Tiny. Slaughter also will fall. Miracle's going to get another kill. Warlock going to buy out, try to get back to this fight as fast as possible. ASDF is running around without an answer right now. Tombstone's up at the high ground again, is being unanswered. Tiny's gonna get stunned by something. Throws an avalanche toss onto the Tidehunter. Now the cleave onto Lubby, onto the Tidehunter. He'll take 2 kills, and they're charging forward for more with Heaton leading the charge. Oh, who he's gonna go for? Short relocate forward. They want Miracle for some revenge. He's going to get graved up. Toss though, no damage done in the air. He is still Shadow Bladed. He can go for Raisin right now, but there's no one going for this Tiny, and the Warlock golems finally drop. ASDF is gonna grab a triple kill. Miracle hiding in the trees. Stay in the trees, Miracle. Oh, Jukes, the sickest of Jukes from Miracle, has 15 seconds left until the Shadow Blade, but he gets spotted out with a toss and will fall. Ultra kill for Febby. Everyone and their mom is going to buy back, but they're going to be teleporting into 4 golems. That teleportation will be canceled. Good move from the Tidehunter, I believe. But they can't really save their Raxes right now. They can't even kill off this Tiny. Blink forward, toss onto the Dazzle, forces a grave on himself. They're going to try to jump in with Miracle, try to assassinate him, but now the golems are right on top of Cal, doing so much damage. I don't know if he's linked up to anyone, but it doesn't seem like it really matters. They're going to cleave through everyone as they're clumped up with the flaming fists and the cleave from the Tiny. That's GG, 34 to 16. And, well, first departure, I don't really know if they stood much of a chance in this game.
Absolutely not. Just, you look at the drafts and it just looks like such a decisive win for MVP. If they somehow lost their lanes terribly, then that would have been a chance for first departure to come back, but MVP didn't lose their lanes. They did have a couple of hiccups during the laning phase, but they managed to just overcome it. Whereas the first departure, I think the troll almost came online. He didn't quite become that monster that he was supposed to be. He was almost at that point. He did manage to get some really nice assassinations off, and that cheeky Shadow Blade pickup though before the final team fight was so clutch, and getting the bashes onto not just March, who he killed first, but also getting some really lucky bashes onto Slaughter, who was trying to man fight him. The troll would have been enough, but he just needed someone that also capitalized on his ult too. So Spectre, not quite the hero to be there. Unfortunately, sitting on a GPM of, is it gold per minute? 278. That's pretty sad for a positioned 1.
You know, because the enemy IO and Undying have more. Their supports. That's not really where it's supposed to be. Guys, this is only game 1. MVP Phoenix going to take 1 point off of this win. First departure really have to shape up their draft in the next phase if they want to have a chance at defeating MVP and grabbing a point for themselves. I'm Mikelorus. I've been joined by Daneliecasts. Don't go anywhere. It's game 2 coming up very shortly.